guys. So this is the second episode, of Girl Growing God series Testimonies. I feel like testimonies help people. I think a lot of times we beat people up with the word and yell Bible verses at them and stuff like that. But honestly, it's like, just give your testimony.
No, for real.
Just give your testimony and it can free somebody. So yeah, we still here, but the topic for today is what?
Forgiveness.
Period. Okay. So we're gonna be talking about forgiveness, and I'm gonna be coming with the word. Y'all already know what's going on. You gotta have the word. Gotta be backed up by scriptures.
No, for real.
It's the only way, for real. What you got?
Well, the first thing I want to say is I feel like the first step to actually start walking in your faith is forgiveness. In my opinion, how do you feel about that? You think so too?
I think so. I think the Lord gotta, like, you have to be obedient, and forgiveness can hold up a lot of stuff. I feel like. So yeah, I agree.
If y'all see me looking at my phone, I'm just looking at my notes because I want to make sure I'm not yapping. Because the last video, I felt like I was yapping, so I'm just trying to make sure I get everything so everybody can understand. One thing that I wrote down was I believe that that forgiveness is the first step, and why I think that is because the first thing we must do to even be saved is repent, right? So like, we have to ask God for forgiveness, and like, if He didn't even forgive, so we have to ask Him for forgiveness. And then even God, He had to first forgive us to even sacrifice Himself for our sins. So like, that's why I feel like that's the first step to actually start growing. And if He didn't give us the grace, if He didn't choose to forgive us, then all of us would have been doomed by our sins because He didn't have to forgive.
Yeah, and I think that makes sense because Jesus was able to show us what that looked like.
Right.
Before we had to forgive, He showed us what it looked like. And what I mean by that is when they were persecuting Him and things like that, He cried out to the Lord like, Father, forgive them, for they don't know what they doing. So it's like He showed us, He displayed that so well. So I think that those are key steps to things, because it's like key steps to like breakthroughs or anything like that, because that's something that He had to do before His whole thing. So it's like, I think that is important.
Well, I could just start off by telling a little bit of my forgiveness testimony, which was actually my first step to actually growing in my faith and growing with God. So I'll just jump right into it.
Yeah.
Okay, so like, I'm just gonna give y'all a little background of my childhood. I was, my mom has 5 kids. I think I was like 5 or so. My dad ended up going to jail, so we ended up moving away from my family. So my mom was taking care of us for a long time by herself. Like, she was a single mom taking care of 5 kids by herself. So it was just us and my mom. Like, we would see our family on family occasions and stuff like that. But my mom was taking care of us literally all by herself. So eventually, and my dad, he was in and out of our life. He was in prison for about 5 years, I think. So we didn't really see him as much as we should have. So it was mainly just my mom. So I'll say when we got into elementary. When I got into elementary, I started seeing the change in my mom, because she was like, we was little, she did literally everything for us what I can remember, she did everything. Like, if we wanted to play sports, we was in sports. Christmases, we would have like big Christmas, like, and to see like my mom doing it all by herself was just like, oh my gosh, like, I didn't really think about it back then, but my mom had a lot of kids, 5 kids, doing it all by yourself is crazy.
Yeah.
So, so my mom, she ended up getting addicted to drugs, and it started off with like weed, and then it went to pills, and then after that it just escalated. So we ended up losing our house, and we ended up having to move with our grandparents. And for a while we didn't see our mom. Like, she basically disappeared. I'm gonna say that's what started my abandonment issues, like, because I felt like my mom wasn't there anymore. And like when you reach those teenage years, like 12, 13, 14, 15, I felt like you needed your mom in that.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
Yeah. So I'm trying to stay. Yeah. So she wasn't there for a while. Like we stayed with my nana and my granddaddy, which they were really old. They were retired. So they didn't really know how to take care of us, like especially like when you need your parent there. So I feel like I started acting out because I miss my mom so much and she wasn't listening to me. Like I dealt with situations with my nana that I shouldn't have been dealing with, just because I felt like she was just projecting that she was angry that she had to basically uproot her life because she was retired. She didn't plan on keeping 5 kids, and she's that old. Like she was literally in her 60s taking care of 5 kids, driving us to school like 45 minutes away, like just doing all these things, her and my granddaddy having to go back to work just to take care of us.
Right.
So I feel like, mom did come back. I kept asking her like, please just get me out of this, because like it got bad between me and my nana because I was very rebellious. Like I was like rebellious. So we end up fast forward through my life. We was with my nana for a long time, for about 5 or 6 years before I ended up moving with my auntie. I think I mentioned it in the other video, me moving with her and how that went. Yeah. But I was smoking, I was doing whatever, I wasn't at the house, I was fighting all the time, I was getting suspended from school because I was always fighting. It was just bad. Like I was just a very bad kid. I was going down the wrong route. Like it wasn't good at all. So I ended up moving with my auntie or whatever, and that's when I got introduced to the church or whatever. And that's when I went to church one day. Like even when I moved there, I didn't completely change. Like it was a different environment. I had discipline and stuff like that, but I still didn't know who God was. I was just going to church just to go to church, stuff like that. Yeah. But one thing that stuck with me was a sermon that was talking about forgiveness, and just hearing him he said something about like forgiving somebody else is actually going to help you or something like that of that nature. I really don't recall like exactly. It's
for you. Yeah. It's not really for the other person. Yeah.
So I end up really thinking like that hit me deep. I don't know why, but it was just placed on my heart to forgive my mom because I was so angry. Like I didn't even realize how much I was angry at her, but I was. Like I could say that I like hated her because I was so like sad and angry. Like where is my mom? And then at the same time, when you in high school, friends want to come to your house and like they like, oh, you can come to my house. I didn't want nobody to come to my house. I'm like, I don't have a mom. Like I felt like I didn't have my mom, and then it's hard to say that you don't have a mom when your mom's still alive. Like she's not there, but she's still alive, so it's hard. So like, and I would go through stuff like
because you may have to explain it.
Yeah. So and like explaining my situation and like saying, oh, mom is addicted to drugs, my mom is addicted to stuff like that. It just was hard for me. So like it made me so angry. I didn't even realize I was taking out all that anger on other people. So yeah, that really stuck with me. So I just kept asking God to help me forgive my mom because I was angry. Like I really sat down with myself and was like, why are you so mad? Like why are you fighting all the time? What's the point of all that fighting and stuff? Because what's the point of fighting? I don't even get the point of fighting. Like even now when I think about what's the point? It's not gonna what is it gonna resolve? Okay, you fought, they still wanna fight the next day.
Right. Or they wanna fight, it was how they see you.
Yeah, like that's so stupid. Like come on, friends. No, for real. So I just said
until somebody ended. Yeah,
literally. So that's when I was just like, how can I forgive her? This guy just helped me forgive her, like, cause I just remember kept asking him like, God, please help me forgive my mom, cause like genuinely I could not forgive her. I'm like, no, she did all this stuff. She left me. She abandoned me for a man. She abandoned me for all this stuff, like. And then I didn't really explain this part, but I moved away from my siblings, so I wasn't seeing them like that. Like I didn't see them like around Christmas time. I didn't see them like that. Like I didn't see them when I wanted to see them. I'm used to seeing my siblings all the time, and my family, that side of my family all the time. So it was really, really hard. Like really, really hard on my mental. Like I got depressed because I just felt alone all the time. Like I felt like nobody didn't want me because like one situation that I can say that I was jealous about is my auntie. She had 2 kids, which they were babies, but they would all get like new, like it's so materialistic, but they would all get like all the new Jordans, like all them four, and then it's just me. Like, oh yeah, they showing me like, look what we got. I'm like, I don't think they meant to do it intentionally, but that's just how it made me feel. Like I was just like, dang, like I don't have nobody doing this stuff for me, so like, ooh, the cry. But so yeah, so I just got very jealous and like very angry and depressed, and like I just felt like I didn't want to be here no more. I'm like, nobody don't want me for real, you know, stuff like that. Yeah. I'm sorry.
No,
I'm gonna cry. So I just asked God to please get me out of that mental state, because I was really in my head. I don't think nobody intentionally meant to hurt me or anything like that. So I just wanted to get out of that. Like I just wanted to be genuinely happy. So I was just praying to God and just continuously asking him to help me forgive my mom, because I genuinely felt like that was like the first step for me to start growing. And after that, it didn't happen overnight. I was still getting mad at stuff like that, but it was easier for me to talk to her, or because at a point I stopped talking to her. Like I wasn't calling her or nothing like that. But I just continued to ask God to please help me forgive her. Like, please help me forgive her. I don't even care if she apologizes to me. Just please help me forgive her. And I would say that all the time until I eventually forgave her. And I started back talking to her and stuff like that, even though that she was still doing drugs or whatever like that. One day I actually had a conversation with her, and I just told her, like, Mom, I forgive you. Like, I promise you I forgive you. I don't, like, that's all I said is I was like, I forgive you. And she just started bawling. Like, she was crying. She was, like, telling me, like, how she felt during that time. Like, how, you know, it's hard to, like, I feel like it was hard for her, too, to even do it. But once you get addicted, it's, like, hard.
It's a grip.
Yeah. So she was just telling me like why it was so hard and stuff like that, and I could just feel like she didn't want to do that. Like, she, like, it hurt her for me to even say like I forgive you, but I feel like it also helped her. It helped her grow, because I also feel like I was the only person out of my siblings to even say that to my mom. I don't think nobody ever said like, hey Mom, I forgive you, because we were like blaming her for a lot of stuff, like our trauma, how we grew up, and like, you know, I act like this because my mama, you know, stuff like that. Instead of just forgiving her and giving her grace because she's not perfect. Yeah, it was wrong. It shouldn't have happened like that, but it still made us who we are today. If I didn't go through that, I wouldn't be here right now. I wouldn't have learned forgiveness or anything like that. So I just, you know, told her out loud I forgave her. And after that, after I told her in her face, like, I forgive her, I feel like I was set free that day. Like, it took me a while to get to that point to actually tell her I forgive her, but it actually like set me free, because I could go over my mom and not be mad at her, even though she was still on drugs. Like, she ended up going to rehab and stuff like that, but she had plenty of times where she relapsed, and I didn't get mad anymore. Like, I didn't care. I still show my mom love. Like, every time I seen her, oh Mom, I love you, I would do a lot of things for her and stuff like that. I remember one day I actually got tested. I thought my mom was, you know, she was clean or whatever, and then I ended up walking into my house into a situation, and I realized that she wasn't. And the old me, I would have been snapping because she was in my house. In my house. And, you know, I just looked at her and I was like, really? That's all I said was really. And then she was like running after me, crying, I'm like, I couldn't say nothing because I let you hear and I forgave you. So, like, what's the point of being mad about it no more? So I just was like, okay, and just went about my day. And then after that, she ended up going back to rehab, and she's been clean ever since that. And I was like, a year ago, I think. So yeah, she's been good ever since then. But I feel like me forgiving her and, like, you know, not feeding into that, like, oh, you did this, you know, making her feel so bad about herself. To even want to run back to it. Yeah, so, yeah, and forgiving her, and I feel like God tested me was like, that's when I realized, like, oh yeah, I forgave her for real. Like, she could do it again tomorrow, and I won't be mad. Like, I can't do anything about it. So yeah, forgiveness was definitely my first step, and actually made me realize, like, understand, like, God helped me with that. Like, I wouldn't have been able to do that by myself, because I was really in a bad mental state where I wanted to not be here no more. I felt unwanted. I was depressed. I was mad. I was angry. I was all these things. But He really helped me get through that depression, and that literally all of that helped me with so much stuff mentally. Just forgiving. Just forgiveness. It's safe to say
say that unforgiveness keeps you in bondage.
Yeah.
Because you said one thing. You was like, after you forgave, you was set free.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like you was able to go around her and not feel, it's whatever. And it's like, imagine not forgiving somebody and you go around them and you're in bondage. Like, you're not free because you can't even freely sit there in peace.
Right.
Their presence is so heavy on you to the point where you have no peace around them. So it's like, I feel like unforgiveness really keeps you in bondage. And I think that's so good. I don't think that you are the only person who even experienced, things like that. I can say for me, just growing up, and my mom, she didn't, I can say she sent us, now I can say she sent us away for better. So my mom actually sent us to Nashville to live with our dad when I was like 11. Mm-hmm. And I felt that too. I was like, I feel like during that time I'm learning a lot of stuff. Like I'm in middle school. Like I'm learning how to, be a woman. I'm gonna get my cycle, things like that. Even though she was kind of pretty much here when I did start, I think she was here. But I just think that was a time where I feel like my mom should have definitely been around. Mm-hmm. So I understand, like, because I had to forgive my mom for that, even though I didn't, I'm not understanding like, oh, you sending us away for the best, like the better. I just know I want to be my mama. I want my mama,
Right.
And when I definitely had to go through that whole little forgiving thing too, with my mom, and just tell her, and like you said, when I told her too, she was just crying, like, because naturally they already feeling, they feeling pretty much what we feeling. Mm-hmm. And it's like we just feeling, nobody's communicating, nobody's forgiving, and it's like it keeps everybody in bondage, and we can't grow, we're stagnant, and all the things. So I definitely do think there's power in forgiveness.
Mm-hmm. Definitely power in forgiveness.
Yeah. What is a scripture that stuck out to you about just forgiveness?
Matthew 18, chapter 18, verse 21 through 22. That's one. I feel like I wrote that one down because once you say it, it'll make sense. But I wrote that one down because mom, she relapsed like time and time and time again. And my mom watched this, like, I love you, no matter what, like, it's okay. But I wrote that one down because, like, all those times I could have been angry, like, oh my God, she went back, she did this, mm-hmm. all this, and just rekindled that whole thing that I just let go. Mm-hmm. And I didn't. I continued to like be like, okay, it's okay. She's gonna do it on her own time. All I can do is pray for her, right, and forgive her. So that's why I wrote that one down.
So you said 21?
Yeah, through 22. Okay.
Then Peter came to Jesus and asked, Lord, how many times shall I forgive my brother or sister who sins against me? Up to 7 times? Jesus answered, I tell you, not 7 times, but 77 times. Ooh! Yeah. Yeah. And just imagine, I'm pretty sure Peter was like, what? Like, no, for real.
Yeah, in the moment, like, I know in the moment, like, when it first started happening again, like, she'll be like, oh, I'm clean, and then come back, and then she relapsed again. I was like, why? Like, oh my gosh, why? Like, but now that I sit back and think about it, after those times kept coming, I stopped being mad. Like, I stopped, like, there's nothing I can do, nothing I can say to make her change unless I continue to pray, and forgive her too. And also with our parents and childhood trauma, like, try to sit down and have a conversation with your parent and ask them how they grew up. Because a lot of stuff is generational curses. One, a lot of stuff is they feel the same way, but parents, they don't know how to have a conversation with their kids. Like, I feel like that's not something that's normal in our generation or in our community, to have a conversation with your child. Like, yeah, I know I did this wrong, but I'm struggling with this. Like, if, like, mom told me, like, why and, like, different reasons on why she went that route and how, and I was just like, dang, I didn't know you went through that. I didn't know you felt like that. I didn't know you was dealing with depression too, that I was dealing with. Like, it was so so much stuff that I realized, and it opened my eyes. Like, how can I be mad at her? Like, how can I sit right here and be mad at her after all that she's been through? And like, this is the only source that she got. Like, she didn't have somebody showing her to Jesus. If she did, then she would be a different person. So all I could do was live in my faith and show her that, like, this is the way. Like, and no matter what, I'm gonna forgive you, and I still love you.
I sat down and thought about my life, and then talked to my mom, and to hear how she grew up, I was like, I really can't be like, she definitely did the best she could.
Right.
Like, and I do believe just keeping the faith, forgiving and keeping the faith, because God will turn it around. Like, he will turn the situation around to the point where you know it's him. Like, you know it's nobody but him. And we actually have the power to work with him and not against him. So it's
right.
like, if we forgiving and we're moving, he's doing the behind the scenes work, and you're going to see it come full circle, and it's going to be like, wow.
Right.
Just imagine if I would have stayed in my unforgiveness, this wouldn't have been going on right now, or this wouldn't have been happening right now. Like, and he give you a chance to reflect and see that. So I definitely think that's good.
But I was just going to ask you, like, how would you tell somebody that's on their walk with Christ, like, what could be the first step to forgiving? Like, I know I said I just asked God to help me forgive, but like, some people, they be like, oh, I already did that. Or like, that's not working for me. Or like, I'm still hurting. Or I can't forget it. Like, you get what I'm saying? Or what I'm asking?
Yeah. So I think the first step would be to pray and ask the Lord to show you what it is that you have. Because a lot of times people can think, oh, I don't deal with nothing. Like, there's no unforgiveness in my heart. Like, they just think that, like, nothing. And I think pray and ask the Lord, show me areas that I need to work on. After you do that, and I think just to speak, so that's speaking to the people who don't feel like they have it. To speak to the people who have it and they feel like, oh, I'm gonna forgive, but I'll never forget. Like, them, you're gonna have to forget it. Like, being triggered means that you're remembered by something. So it's like, okay, I have to forget this in order to fully forgive them. Because if I sit down and I'm dwelling on it and I'm thinking about it and I'm remembering it, I'm getting mad. Like, I'm really getting mad right now. So or
sad.
Or sad. Well, yeah. So it's like forgetting. And then to speak to, what else you said?
I forgot, but
you said, the people who don't feel like the people who don't know, the people who say, I can forgive, but I won't forget. And then I think you said one more.
Girl, I can't even remember that fast. But I feel like you really touched on it. Like,
yeah.
Like, I feel like a lot of us don't even know the reason why we act in the way we act is because we hold so much anger against another person. Like, you thinking, oh, I'm acting this way, oh, because I'm a Gemini. We're not gonna think of that. I'm acting like this because I'm a Gemini. No. But girl, you know you mad. Right. Yeah. You know you hold a grudge against
Exactly. That's
up with the Zodiac.
No, but the Zodiac signs, we're gonna go there. Because I think that a lot of people try to blame Zodiac signs for a lot, and it's like, just go ahead and blame the enemy. Because that's who behind the Zodiac signs anyway. So just go ahead and blame the enemy. You think it's the Zodiac or whatever, just blame the enemy. And at the end of the day, you want to be used by the enemy if you take on this full identity of a Zodiac sign. Like, it literally makes no sense. And it's just, honestly, just give it up. Yeah, just seek the word, seek the Lord. Because, yeah, that ain't it. And I can go on and on. Maybe we should
do that.
Yeah, next. I think a lot of y'all are thinking y'all are operating in the Zodiac sign, but y'all really operating in the spirit. And
y'all went through stuff as a child, or however y'all went through it, and you're like projecting it on the outside, but acting like you're healed from it, or acting like you didn't go through it, or just trying to not have that conversation or forget it, but you're still thinking about it when you go lay down
right.
by yourself. So that's why you're so angry. That's when you get to work, you're so mad at everybody. That's when you talk to somebody, you got an attitude in your face and you're not loving on people, because once you forget, it's not going to be like, you're going to think about it. Like for me, I still think about it sometimes, but as soon as that thought comes, I'm like, okay, I don't care about that no more. So go ahead and
take
go
it
on.
captive.
Yeah, go on, enemy. That's not going to make me mad no more. I could be around my mom and say, Mom, I love you so much. You're so beautiful. I don't think about that when I look at her. I don't care about that. I honestly don't care. Like I don't care.
Yeah, it's good.
It's not there no more. That pain, that hurt, like, it's not there anymore. And I feel like that's why I was kind of tearing up. I was tearing up more so of where God brought me from. Because I was so depressed and in my head. Like, it's like, dang, like, you really brought me from that. Not off the simple fact of what happened. Like, that's not even hurtful to me no more. Like, that's my story. That's my testimony. That's what got me here right now. I wouldn't be the person I am right now if I didn't go through that. So, it's more so like showing my compassion for God. Like, how much
how good he is.
How good he is. Literally.
That's good.
Taking me from that whole situation and helping me elevate, and like, whatever the enemy brought into my life, like, he made me prosper from it. Like, okay, you went through this, but you're still elevating your life and you're still living for me.
God still got the glory.
Literally.
Even when we feel like there's no glory in this, where's the glory in this? And he showed us there it is. And it's like, wow. So yeah, that was good. So I hope this help you guys. I hope it reaches whoever is struggling with unforgiveness. Don't hesitate to like reach out to anybody. Go seek wise counsel. Like, even if you gotta DM us,
literally, we
will be here to help you. But I definitely think forgiving would be the first step to just getting what God has for you. So yeah, I love y'all, but always remember, God loves you more.
Period. You grow, girl. And make sure y'all like, comment, share, and subscribe. It help girl grow in God. And also, if y'all haven't bought y'all ticket for Sunday Fun Day, y'all better go get it. It's only $25. Go get y'all tickets. We're finna have some Christian girl fun.